Hello, everybody. Today we're going to continue with this idea of multi-step problems, right? So we're dealing with story problems that have more than one step. So to do these, you need to really think and break these down as much as you can, right? We've got a multi-step problem, so there's usually going to be two or more sometimes steps in completing these. So really make sure that when you're doing this, you are slowing down to make sure you understand everything and you get all of the important information in there. There's a few different strategies for these, but really just make sure you're taking your time and it's going to make it a little more successful for you. They can be tricky, but make sure you're doing your best. So this first problem that I want to start with talks about some beads. Noah needs 35 beads, making a necklace, maybe a little gift for a friend. It could be a friendship bracelet, something special. But he finds 3 boxes with 8 beads in each box. Very special. How many more beads does he need? We're going to try to solve this, and we're going to try to write an equation that can be used to solve the problem. Okay, so let's think about this. What are we talking about in this problem? Well, we're talking about beads. All right, it's going to make a little bracelet or something. What are we trying to find out? We're trying to figure out how many more beads does he need? And our important information in here, we've got a 35, we've got a 3, we've got an 8. All of those numbers are important. They're not trying to mess with us. Sometimes they throw tricky numbers in there. Not happening this time. We need all of those numbers. So how can we break this down in a manner that makes sense to us so that we can figure this out? So take a minute, think it over. Where do I start? One way we can think about this is we need 35 beads total, right? We got to get this. We've got to get this number of beads. We got to get a total of 35. Okay, great. We can do that. We know that he's got 3 boxes of beads already. Great, good for him. He's got these 3 boxes, and each of those has 8 in there. Oops. Each box has 8 beads in there. Great, we're doing well. So what we're looking for is this difference. How much is going to make this up? So if both these bar models are the same, what number goes here? We'll call this letter B for beads. We're trying to find what is B. What is this amount? So what do we know already? Well, we can figure out, we know how many beads he does have. He's got 3 sets of 8. And we can think of that as 3 times 8. He's got 3 different sets of 8. So we can think that's 3 times 8. Once we have that answer, we'll do that first. We'll put it in parentheses so we know we do it first. Once we have that answer, we're doing really well. We need to find how many more beads does he need. And there should be a clue in the way that this is written to tell us whether we're going to add, multiply, subtract, or divide, and try to figure out that function. And hopefully, by now you guys recognize when it says how many more of something, that's going to set off alarms in our head and tell us that we're going to need to subtract at some point in time. So we'll subtract to find our answer. So once we figure out how many beads he has, we'll subtract from that. And the only number that's left is 35. So we figure out how many beads he finds, take that away from how many he needs, and that'll give us how many needs to find to meet his goal, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take 35 away. Now, one tricky part about this problem is we could either, one of these is going to be right. We're either going to go 35 minus 3 times 8, or we're going to go 3 times 8 minus 35. One of these is right, but not both. There's going to be a problem here. Hopefully you know that 3 times 8 will give us 24. We know that it's 24. If I were to write 3 times 8 minus 35, I cannot go 24 minus 35. It wouldn't work. If you have 24 things, you can't take 35 away. So that makes this one correct. Okay, so the way we would want to write this is 35 minus 3 times 8 equals B for the number of beads Noah needs. We can solve this by taking it down a step. 35 minus 24 equals B. And if I go 35 minus 24, you'll find that he needs 11 beads. So B in this case is 11. He needs 11 more. That gives me the answer to how many more beads does he need. He needs 11. There's a lot of steps. It's tricky. But think about ways you can break this down. I know that some of these problems, there's a lot of writing and it can be really tricky. Try to break it down into information that you know and information that you need to know. So really break it down and do it slowly. If you'd rather draw the beads out or have a diagram of some sort, that is fine. But take your time on these. Let's take a look at this one. And I'll have you actually open your math journals right now to this page, which is page 200, 200. No, it's not. It's page 198. It's actually 197. 197. Let's turn to page 197. That is a L61 if you're looking at it upside down. Page 197. And let's take a look at this one. Garrett's a nice kid. He's out there babysitting kids. Garrett's paid $4 for each hour he babysits. What a nice guy this Garrett is. Mrs. Becker pays him for 5 hours of babysitting. On his way home, Garrett spends $9 on a book and $6 on a puzzle. Write an equation to find how much money Garrett has left from the money Miss Becker pays him. So again, Garrett goes to work. He gets $4 an hour for 5 hours. On the way home, he spends some money. How much money does he have left? So let's break this down a little bit. What is the problem about? Somebody shout it out. What's this problem about? Quit looking around. Somebody answer it. All right. I think I heard the right answer. It is money. We're talking about money in this case. So we're talking about money and how much he's getting paid. The next one, what are we trying to find out? Well, we're trying to find out how much money Garrett has left, right? He started with some money. He spent some. How much does he have left? And what information is important? Again, they're not tricking us. $4 an hour is important. 5 hours is important. spending $9 and $6 are all important. Those are all important pieces of information. Okay, so let's break this down. Think about the best way to solve this. Ms. Erickson will pause the video, work on this one, see if you can come up with an answer, and also try to, you're going to have a couple parts here. You need to make sure that you have an equation, but you also try to show your work. All right, now that I'm back, let's talk about a couple ways that we could do this. There is a few different ways we could do this. We could model it any number of ways. One way that I would recommend is that bar model that I kind of showed earlier, is just kind of thinking about this as a bar model. All right, so if he works for 1 hour, he would get paid $4, right? If he worked 1 hour, he gets paid $4. But he doesn't work for 1 hour. Put a money sign in there. He works for 5 of them. Right? So we know this number right here, 4 times 5, we know he got paid $20. Good for Garrett, earning $20 there, tax-free. Now, the next part we got to figure out is how much we're going to take away from that, right? So we're going to cross some of this off. So I'll put another bar model down here for how much he is going to go home with, right? He's going to spend some of this, $9, on a book. Good for him. Hope it's a good book. He's also going to spend $6 on a puzzle. All right, and what we're left with is B for babysitting money. Right? So we've got some certain amount of money left. We just got to figure out what this is. Again, if we know 9 and 6, these two bars are going to be the same length. Right? These two bars will be the same amount. Here's what he started with. Here's what he comes home with. He's not going to pick up any money along the way. So we've got 9 and 6, which means here we have a total of $15. So how much is left? If this is 15 and all of this is 20, that's going to tell us that B has got to be 5. And that's our answer. But it's not an equation. And that's what we want to do. So for our equation, he started with $4 for 5 hours. We got to start with that problem. Now, do we add money to this or do we take it away? We're going to take it away. So we're going to subtract the money he spent. How much did he spend? First he spent $9. Then he spent $6. So he spent $9 and $6. So we've got to put both of those in there. Once we solve all of this, it's going to equal B. Again, I get it. This is a big, complicated equation. But if you just think about it in the order that they happened, it might be easier. He worked for 1 hour, he got $4, but he worked for 5 hours, so he got 4 times 5. Then he went and spent some money on 2 different things, and this is how much he ends up with. From here, we can break this down. We know that 4 times 5 is 20. We know that 9 plus 6 is 15. So we're going to be doing 20 minus 15 equals B, which means 20 minus 15 is 5. So Garrett has $5 left over. Hope that makes sense. What I want you guys to do now is to take a look ahead and turn to page 200. On page 200, we've got a couple questions. You'll finish some of these before you go to lunch. So answer number 7, 8, and 9 on your own time. We'll review them a little bit. Again, the most important thing here is it is okay to get it wrong, but it is not okay to not try. So do your best. We can learn from our mistakes. So just do your best, and I'll review them with you. So pause the video and answer the questions. All right, I'm back. Number 7 says, there are 4 vans and 2 cars going to the museum. Maybe it's a science museum. Maybe it's a natural history museum. Who knows? The options are endless. Each van carries 9 people. It's a big old van with 9 people in it. Each car carries 3 of them. Write an equation to show it. We're going to use V for van, and we're going to use we're going to try to solve it so we know how many people go and travel to the museum. So when we do this one, a couple different ways we could do it, but let's just start by reading it very carefully here. And I like the bar model idea, right? So there's 4 vans and 2 cars going. So if I have 4 vans, there's my 4 vans. There are 9 people in each one. Good for them. There's also 2 cars. And in each one of those, there's 3 people. So now we just have to figure out how many people are in this car all together. All right, so this would be the T that we're looking for. We know what 9 times 4 is, hopefully. It's 36. We know what 3 times 2 is. Hopefully it's 6. And if we just put those together and add them, we will get our T. Hopefully you got 42. For an equation for something like this, there's a couple different ways we could do this. But we know that the van is going to be 4 times 9. And we know the T, which is all of this, the T is going to equal the van plus how many people are in the car, and that's 2 times 3. Again, there's a lot of steps to this. As long as you work this out, take your time, try to think of a way to demonstrate this. It is tricky, and I realize that we might struggle through this, but just do your best and really try to think about it in order. Last one I'll do with you. Miguel has 28 markers. His sister has 33 markers. Hopefully they're different colors, otherwise it'll be hard to make pictures. They buy 3 more boxes of markers. Each box has 8 markers. Write an equation to represent the total number of markers. Again, let's just think this out in order. What's going on in here, right? So we've got Miguel here. He's got 28 markers. His sister has 33. And then they go ahead and buy 3 more boxes with 8 in each one. and we want to figure out the total number of markers. When we see that word total, we want to think it's going to be probably an addition problem, right? In some way, we're trying to total things up. We're getting a total. So Miguel starts off, he has 28. Sister has 33. They go ahead and buy 3 boxes with 8 in each one. How many markers do they have? That's what we're trying to figure out. All it is. So let's think about this. Our equation, in this case, we're going to be taking our 28 plus 33 plus a bunch of adding, 3 times 8, and that is going to equal our total number. Shouldn't be too bad. We can solve all of these on our own. We know that 3 times 8, hopefully we know this, 3 times 8, sounds a little familiar, 24. Now we can simply just come back up here. We're going to go 28, 33, 24, add them all up. And this is how many markers they end up with. That's our total number. In this case, M equals 85. I know this is tricky, boys and girls. Do your best, take your time, and I hope you have good luck with it. Try to make sure you have some sort of model to show how you got your answer. If your equation looks different from mine, that's okay. Just remember, we're grouping things with the parentheses that just tells us we got to put them together. Not a big deal. Do the best that you can. When you come back from lunch, you guys are going to be working on pages 201 and 202 on your own. Do your best. Make sure you're working hard, and I'll talk to you guys later.